Good evening, everyone. This is a story that even after 27 years is hard to believe. Stranger than fiction and more heartbreaking than a tragic drama. A real story of a top Indian mind who wanted to do something for his country. A scientist from ISRO, Nambi Narayanan, who led Indian Space Agency's cryogenic rocket engine project and one day suddenly found himself charged of espionage. What followed was a long 27-year battle where Narayanan fought for his self-respect, got his name cleared, won compensation from the same governments that hounded him for over a decade, and finally has had the Supreme Court direct a CBI probe into the conspiracy against him and others. Nambi Narayanan, the man who diligently fought this lonely battle, will be joining us in just a bit. But first up, a recap of what exactly transpired. This is a story that all young people must see. In October 1994, a Maldivian woman was arrested for obtaining ISRO rocket drawings, and the allegation was that this was to sell to enemy nation Pakistan. Soon after, Nambi Narayanan and 4 others, including another scientist, was also arrested. In January next year, Narayanan was released on bail, but not before many days of torture that he has detailed in jail. In another year's time, in April 1996, CBI in fact filed a closure report saying that the entire espionage case was false. Now the matter should have ended there, but no. In June 1996, the new CPIM-led left government in Kerala continued this witch hunt, which started under a Congress government, and directed state police to investigate further. In November, the Kerala High Court actually dismissed another probe, and Supreme Court even awarded a 1 lakh rupees compensation to the scientist for his ordeal. Narayanan pursued this further and approached the NHRC for compensation for the torture that he had gone through, and he was awarded that by March 2001. But again, the Kerala government opposed this and challenged the order. For over a decade, that matter was stuck in courts, and only by late 2012, Kerala High Court again directed the Kerala government to compensate Nambi Narayanan. Now, of course, Supreme Court has ordered a 50 lakh rupees compensation, and finally, the focus is on the conspirators themselves, with a sealed report by a former SC judge becoming the basis of a CBI probe ordered by the apex court. Let's go across to our special guest, ISRO scientist Nambi Narayanan, now joining us on the show. First up, I want to begin by asking you, you've already won several court battles. You've proved beyond doubt, of course, your innocence and that there was a larger conspiracy. Do you believe the system must and will come to your retribution now?
Yeah, sure. You see, the system has built-in strength as well as built-in weaknesses. And of course, the weakness you are paying in terms of time. But otherwise, okay, it's part of the game. So I have a feeling that the system will now come to my rescue.
Now, you've been singled out and conspired against, and of course, you've suffered a huge loss to your, career, to your life, to your time, your youth. But you don't seem to be very bitter, sir. How do you manage that outlook?
The only thing is I don't show it off, that is all. Otherwise, I also feel I am bitter, but you can't help it. By becoming bitter, you cannot help it,
But can you tell me what was the toughest part for you in this fight, a 27-year-long fight that you have fought?
No, the toughest moment was I was worried about my physical stamina to withstand the kind of pressures and tortures. But luckily, I became unconscious, so that way I escaped actually. So that was the toughest moment, and it so coincided. I became unconscious. Then a doctor was asked to come and then treat me. And the next day morning when I woke up, I was to be handed over to the CBI. So these people have no other go other than handing me over to the CBI, so I escaped.
You're talking about the torture that was meted out to you when you were in jail and in custody. But we know the conspiracy, we have been reliving that conspiracy through the battles that you've been winning in court too. But isn't it still very shocking that perhaps under international pressure, in an international conspiracy, Indians were involved in this large-scale fraud and fabrication that undermined the cryogenic program in India that could have given it the advantage and, of course, robbed individuals like you of your career and time?
No, it is shocking, but I think you should understand it a little broadly. It is not the Nambi Narayanan they were targeting. I think they were targeting our program. So if they remove me, I happen to be the project director, and so the program will get derailed. You see, you know very well, in any program, there will be some key personnel. Let it be with ISRO or let it be with any other organization.
Right.
So if you remove either one key person or two key persons, then the entire program, if not totally jeopardized, it can be delayed. And the delay can be sometimes very small, sometimes very big. In our case, it is very big. Because we were evolving a system of cryogenic. You see, ISRO's success is because we were having a unique way of working of our technology development. We take shortcuts, not gambling, but the shortcuts based on intelligent, analytical iteration of others' successes or failures.
Okay.
So in the process, you can save a lot of money. Now this is not possible by everybody. It is possible by some individuals in certain sense. So for example, I was holding not one position but many positions. Why? Because it is not that I liked it, because that's a way you can proceed faster.
Right.
So that is not a universal approach. You use it for some time till you become operational, for example. So in the process, since I was holding more than one position, then my removal matters a lot.
Yeah, you became a target.
Because the entire system can be collapsed. And after all, they succeeded in that. So what is a big deal about it?
No, it is a big deal, and that's exactly the point that I'm making, that Indians were ultimately responsible for our own loss, for setting us back. How can someone do that?
I will tell you, please understand one thing. Because of the fact that I happen to forget about the cryogenic and the rocket technology for the time being, and wanted to prove my innocence, I fought this case. Otherwise, you mean to say these jokers would be punished? No, nobody would have been caught. They will be just like that, going, enjoying their life. So it is shocking. I agree with you, but it is not surprising. There are people all over the world. They do this actually.
No, we commend your perseverance. Like you're saying, if you had not fought, who knows? Maybe the truth about this entire episode would not have come out, and now an investigation would not have been ordered. But there has been some compensation, some belated accolades that have come your way. Is there a sense of satisfaction, or is it just too late for any such feeling?
There are two parts in that question. One is, I had a dream of developing the cryogenic system and then making this country as a space power. Now that is, according to me, is finished for the time being. So I am disappointed, and that can never be given back to me. Okay, that the dream is gone. Now the second part is that you have got some compensation, and in fact this entire case was not for compensation. Supreme Court was kind enough to give me some compensation. Of course, that has helped me to pay back some loans and stuff like that. But otherwise, the main case itself is to punish those criminals who have fabricated this case. Now, you ask me whether I will be happy. I will be happy. Certainly, I am unhappy because of the first part. And I will be happy if this case reaches its logical conclusion.
Right, right.
So that nobody will dare to do similar thing in future.
That's exactly what the focus is. But before I let you go, Nambi Narayanan, I have to ask you, you mentioned your dream and how it has been crushed. But I want to ask you that would you like to come back to active work life now? Something that you would want to work with, maybe with the ISRO. They're doing so well, as you said. And somewhere that you feel your expertise can be used.
This is a very interesting question. But please understand, I am not younger anymore. Earlier, I used to travel left and right, and my physical energy was so high. Now I am an old person, so I can't, and I am not used to work slowly. So that will not help me. So it is not myself. So I won't be able to work if it is not myself. So that is out. But I can certainly contribute in certain planning, in the entire configuration. For example, the entire space work is not well planned according to me, and I was again dreaming that for America you have a NASA, for Europeans you have ESA, and for Indians you should have something called ESA, Asian Space Agency. Now there are many ifs and buts. But certain things can be, in that kind of areas where you need some consultancy, some innovative ideas, that kind of a thing I can contribute, provided my health is doing good, and I am able to contribute to that, yes.
We wish for that. We wish you all the best. And of course, we hope that you can continue to chase your dream in whatever capacity you still can. Nambi Narayanan, thanks a lot for joining us. The big focus, of course, is if those who were guilty of this conspiracy are going to be punished. Advocate C. Unnikrishnan, who represented scientist Nambi Narayanan, is joining us. Ravi Gupta, former scientist at the DRDO, who has had experience working with him and, of course, is conversant of the issue that has happened. R.B. Sri Kumar, former DGP Gujarat, who was then IB Additional Director in Kerala at that time. One of the officers whose role is under question today, all joining us. I want to go across to R.B. Sri Kumar first up. You are one of the officers whose role is under question. Don't you think that time has come for you to pay for your role as well?
It is totally wrong. Your presentation is wrong. My rank was not Additional Director. I was number 2 level officer, and the whole process was supervised by my Joint Director rank, Mr. Matthew John. Mr. Matthew John name is shown as one IB officer. That is totally wrong. I don't know whether there is some agenda behind it. I was not at all involved in the investigation against Mr. Nambi Narayanan, and he never complained about me in any place. And I was asked to interrogate a particular individual, particular person, and that interrogation I have done for 3-4 days and submitted my reports, and so far no complaints has come about the revelations and the contents of the reports and the way in which he is treated. And this is, I don't agree with many of the observations made by...
Your name is still under question, sir.
My name is not...
Your role is under question.
Your role is that is questioned by the journalistic assessment. It is not in this case. This case is given by Mr. Nambi Narayanan against Kerala police officer who was not departmentally dealt with by the Kerala police on the reports of the CBI.
No, I'll let Mr. Unnikrishnan respond to that. I have definitely heard Nambi Narayanan name you personally as someone who was very, very involved in the entire conspiracy. But I want to ask you, if you are saying you had nothing to do with it and others only were responsible, at whose behest was this conspiracy all done? Why don't you come clean?
I never said that others are responsible. I never said that there is any conspiracy. This was a real case.
It's clear that it's a conspiracy. The courts are saying now, sir.
Courts are saying that court is not the final word. Court are not given the final word regarding the anti-Sardarji rights even now. This is not the final word. This is not the first stop of the whole thing. That I don't want to comment upon that. I was given a particular assignment. I was not in charge of this particular investigation at all. The investigation was supervised at the Delhi level by Director Mr. D C Pathak and his assistant is additional director, Mr. M K Jain, who has written a book, Open Sequence, and in that book he clearly says that there were attempts to smuggle out information. There was smuggling.
None of that has been proved. You are still sticking to your old theories. I want to bring in Mr. Unni Krishnan. 1 second. You're just hearing what R.B. Srikumar is saying. 1 second, sir. 1 second. From Kerala Police. Sir, 1 second. Sir, 1 second. Sir, I'll give you time. 1 second. I've given you enough time. From the Kerala Police. Sir, please. Sir, don't talk over me. From the Kerala Police to the IB officials, of course at the central level, all of them have not really, wrapped themselves in glory. Unni Krishnan, I want to ask you, central question is, Nambi Narayanan's name may have been cleared, but what happens to the conspirators? First of all, who was the conspirator and what will happen to them eventually now?
Yes, in fact, now the conspiracy angle is going to be investigated by CBI. Once CBI started investigation, definitely all are behind the conspiracy, criminal conspiracy, who, what was the motive, etc. will come out definitely. According to me, CBI earlier, while filing the closure report in 1996, they have submitted 2 reports before the Government of India and Government of Kerala, naming the officials of IB and naming the officials of Kerala Police.
Yes.
Therefore, those persons are definitely behind this fabrication of a story.
And was this under international
dragging Mr.
pressure?
Nambi Narayanan into the issue.
And was this not an international conspiracy? Or what was the motive for these individuals to malign Nambi Narayanan?
Yes, one aspect is there. Mr. Nambi Narayanan was at that time, while he was arrested, he was the director of cryogenic development. And because of his arrest, our cryogenic program was delayed for more than 15 years. Therefore, in fact, there is a open letter written by 6 eminent personalities of ISRO stating that there may be chances of external interferences. Maybe a US United States of America were there.
Who were opposed to our Russian partnership and who were opposed to the cryogenic program. I want to bring in Ravi Gupta here also, former scientist at the DRDO. The question, Ravi Gupta, is that something so horrible can never be allowed to go unpunished, and certainly a message has to be sent that it can never be attempted again. Is that possible? Because the system has really let everyone down here.
See, our system is very powerful and strong. So I have no doubt that yes, if there is a will to do it, we can punish the criminals. And mind you, these criminals are not ordinary criminals. They are big conspirators who have committed crime against the nation. It is not just crime against Dr. Nambi Narayanan. It is not just crime against ISRO or our cryogenic engine program. It is a crime against India, my country. So these people must be given biggest punishment, whatever. In my such opinion, there is nothing less than capital punishment should suffice.
And look how long it has taken. I mean, thanks to the Supreme Court for ordering this probe, but I don't know what subsequent governments in Kerala were trying to prove. They were delaying the truth to come out. And now they're giving Nambi Narayanan compensation, the same government, the same CPIM-led left government. I mean, who are they trying to fool? What about the politicians who oversaw this?
These politicians have been fooling the people of the country for a long time. And that is why it is all the more important that not just the people who actually tortured Dr. Nambi Narayanan or arrested him, the real dark faces behind them must be brought to books. Those people who were sitting in power. See,
Yes.
one thing is there. After all, where is the accountability? People elect a government. I don't want to name any party X or Y. When people are electing and the person assumes the office, he cannot deny the responsibility. Now, one thing is proven that Dr. Nambi Narayanan was wrongly held, confined, tortured, and as a result, our program got a big
So this is
setback.
treason, you're saying. Only Krishnan, very quickly, final comment from you also. After, of course, we have to wait what the CBI does. But what are the charges you think they should impose? The sections?
Definitely criminal conspiracy is there. That is the main thing. And fabrication of evidences are there. And the motive behind the fabrication are to be investigated.
Do you think treason also comes in here? Because as Ravi Gupta
Definitely.
is saying that ultimately this is a crime against the country.
Crime against the nation. Definitely.
If there is a conspiracy, of course, in
Yes.
subjugating the cryogenics program.
Yes, yes.
What do you have to say about Sri Kumar's role? He's defending himself.
He was a deputy director, I think, in
Yes.
Trivandrum at
Yes.
the time of the arrest of Mr. Nambi Narayanan on 30/11/1994. In fact, the issue is a crime was investigated by Kerala Police Special Investigation Team for 15 days. And they have decided to hand it over to CBI
Yes.
on 30th November 1994. But on that day, Nambi Narayanan was arrested. Why?
Yes.
I don't know. Because they could have handed over the entire matter to the CBI. CBI could have ascertained the issue, and they could have taken a decision as to whether he needs to be arrested or not. And very importantly, CBI in 1996 found that without searching his office or residence, nothing is brought out, no material is there to arrest Nambi Narayanan. He was arrested by Kerala police. And therefore, I think there is a clear conspiracy for arresting Nambi Narayanan while he was working as cryogenic team head.
Okay, we'll have to leave it at that. RB Srikumar, I appreciate you joining us as with the other guests. Of course, what was your role or not, despite what Nambi Narayan says, will be proven by court. Now the CBI is also investigating this. The only thing is that there must be very clear focus on this. It shouldn't be allowed to go to the back burner, because unless we get to finality in such cases are doomed to repeat. I thank you all for joining us and for viewers for watching as well. Stay tuned to CNN News 18. News and updates continue.